perfect. Stay on
Bill
it, dude.
sustains it, and Bill's gonna drive to victory.
The magic return to the Bristol night race. The racing was amazing. Why? Why was the racing so good? Because it was a bottom line dominant racetrack. When you go back to the history of the night race, what filled the grandstands with the Hall of Famers that took part, it was the pushing, the shoving, the beating, the banging, and it all happened because everyone was clamoring to get to the bottom of the racetrack. Whether it was Dale Sr. in 95 sending Terry Labonte around coming to the checkered, 5 cars still went to victory lane, but it was an exciting moment, a huge moment. Or back when Senior got revenge in 99, another wreck for the 5 car, this time Dale Sr. going to victory lane. Or was it the famed bump and run, Jeff Gordon last corner, 2002, sending Wallace out of the way to go to victory lane? Or how about the current drivers, Kyle Busch getting moved by Carl Edwards for the win in 2008? What did that all have in common? Everybody wanted to be at the bottom of the racetrack. So when we go back and look at the night race, that's what happened once again. Right here, the 54 of Ty Gibbs working on the 34 of Todd Gilliland. Todd Gilliland's gonna block down into the corner. If they're running the top, there's nothing he can do, but because they're running the bottom, the 54 shoves the 34 out of the way, goes on by. That's the way, that's how it happens. So if we take a look all the way back on corner exit, right? Remember, if they're running the top, the 54 has to work his way to the outside of the 34. He's looking in that direction right here. But if we play to the end of the straightaway right here, because it's the bottom, Ty Gibbs is looking left. See? He looks left. He's looking in this direction. He's trying to beat the 34 to the corner entry. Now we know the 34 doesn't allow him. What does that mean? Kind of the bump and run, like Wallace and Gordon all over again. So much so that Ty Gibbs in the 54, he's thinking 22 right here. Ryan Blaney gets a nice run through the corner. He's going to get to the rear bumper of the 54. Now the 54 has a decision. Does he defend? He doesn't. He just lets the 12 go through because he knows if he gets any sort of defense or throws any sort of defense, he's going to get shoved out of the way as well. Another great look at this, the onboard of Christopher Bell, right? If you go on board and look what Bell does late in traffic, he's chasing Chris Buescher right here. Buescher's going to jump to the top. He has a little fresher tire on the bottom. You see the 6 of Brad Keselowski kind of hogging the bottom right here. The 20 just turns left, gets to the inside. The 6 has nothing to do but concede. Next up the road, the 77 of Hocevar, same situation. Nice diamond in the corner, the 20 goes by. So that's the bottom. That's what makes the bottom so special. To talk about the top and what we've seen at Bristol over the last few races, let's go back to the spring. Kyle Larson, the dominant car, racing the 35 of Riley Herbst, trying to put him a lap down. And watch how exhausting this is for Kyle Larson. He has no offense available. He can't put the bumper to him. He can't do anything but dive to the bottom, try to get momentum. The momentum's not there. He can't get in the gas. And lap after lap after lap, the 35 defends. The only option that the 5 has is on corner exit. He needs this car to basically clear the 35, right? So he needs to somehow get up in front of the 35, take the top away. That's going to be the magic for the 35. That's how it works. If we go on board and see what the top looks like, you want to talk about frustration for the drivers, check this out. This 54 of Ty Gibbs, over to the right, 19 of Briscoe. You watch how this goes right here. Lap after lap after lap. The 54 defends the 19. 19 has nowhere to go. The 12's running the bottom. If this was a bottom lane dominant racetrack, they would all run the bottom. The faster car would have a chance to look left on the straightaway. If he couldn't do it, he could push him out of the way in the corner. Both situations make for great racing. Why? Why was it different this time? Why was the bottom so dominant? Goodyear brought a high wear tire, but it wasn't really the tire wear that made the difference. It was where all the rubber went. After it chunks off the tire, it goes up the racetrack, it covers that top lane. It was never clear enough for the leaders to use. It forced the drivers to run the bottom. High tire wear for the Goodyear tires. Everybody is talking about it. Not an issue on Friday, a big issue on Saturday night. I went into the race not expecting the issue. So let's look at the real numbers, exactly what happened over the course of the weekend and how things changed. All right, there's a lot going on here, but let's take a look at it. On the left side, lap time. Higher is slower. 15 seconds at the bottom, 20 seconds at the top. From left to right, you have from lap 0 all the way out to lap 65 in this direction. So a pretty simple line graph. The red line, oh, actually all these lines, the 20 of Christopher Bell. The red line is practice. He goes out and he runs 65 laps, start to finish, all around 16-second lap times. No tire wear issue. Tire wear is a little heavy. The tires don't wear out. We then drop the race. First run is the blue line. So it starts like we all expected. He's pretty fast, and then look at this uptrend. Look at the tires wearing out, disappearing, forces the 20 to come to pit road. So really, what's different? This is the magic. That red line, remind you, 65 laps, no problem on tires. A second faster than how they ran the race. The track temperature, 110 degrees. We start the race, 20 degrees cooler, 90 degrees. The only change, remember, 28 hours later, same cars, same track, same setup, same tires that could run 70 laps on Friday, couldn't run 30 laps on Saturday just because of some track temperature changes. Now, the interesting thing, though, is look how they adjust. So first run of the race, tires wear out, they slow down. Second run of the race, they're trying to get it figured out. It's the yellow line right here. But then look at this, the longest run, around lap 150. Look how long the 20 is able to run on tires. He's almost able to match what he did in practice. Nothing changed except for what the driver did behind the wheel. So the high tire wear is awesome for racing. It's fun to watch, but it is so hard to figure out because just 20 degrees of track temperature was the difference between a set of tires making it or a set of tires wearing all the way to the fabric. Even with all the chaos of the worn out tires and the preferred bottom lane and the pushing and shoving, in the end, it was the final restart that determined the winner of the race where Christopher Bell took control of the race. But to understand the restart, we have to go back and talk about the choose. Let's talk Carson Hocevar 77 old tires, 38 of Zane Smith old tires, Alex Bowman in the 48, must-win situation, plus he had no tires to put on. They all stay on the racetrack, so we roll it forward and we decide where they want. Remember, the top has been the best on every restart out of the zone. You accelerate, you clear left, you try to get to the bottom of the corner, that's worked. For that reason, the 77 takes the top, 38 takes the bottom, 48 takes the top. I love all three choices. The real decision for me then becomes the 6 of Brad Keselowski. He's thinking top because it accelerates better. I don't like top because he's lane 3. I think it should have been the bottom of the racetrack. He chooses top, which really forces the 20 of Bell to choose bottom. Christopher Bell said after the race, I didn't know if I wanted to be top or bottom that far back, but once Brad Keselowski made his choice, I made mine. I went to the bottom of the racetrack. So what does that mean? Not a lot of experience. The 77 Hocevar, 38 is Zane Smith on the front row. Remember, the leader has an entire restart zone to fire off in. He can go everywhere from the first line to the second. The 77 waits until the second line. I think that is a major miss, giving up your advantage. He should fire as soon as he hits the line. There, gone, in the gas. That's the move for the 77. He should clear the 38 down to the turn 1 and have a chance. Instead, he waits to the second white line. The 38 gets an amazing start. Now they're door to door. Now Zane Smith needs to be thinking, the driver of the 38, you cannot miss the bottom in turn 1. You have fresh tires behind you. We roll down into turn 1 and Zane Smith does the one thing he can't do. He misses the bottom up the racetrack, leaving, look at this gap right here. This is absolute pay dirt for the 20 of Bell. He sees this and he thinks he has absolutely been given a gift. Now, the first time I saw this, I thought the 20 shoved the 38 to the second lane, which I'd have been okay with. That's Bristol. But after watching it a second time, watch this again. I mean, a little bump, but the 38's going up the racetrack anyway. We head down the backstretch. Unfortunately, the 38 does it again. Heads down in turn 3. The car still won't stick to the bottom. Opens the door for Brad Keselowski to come on through. So what I thought was an amazing move by Christopher Bell turns out, in my mind, a bad restart by the 77, a bad turn 1 for the 38 of Zane Smith, and a poor lane choice for Brad Keselowski gave the 20 the chance to win the race. But I'm going to tell you, Christopher Bell might have gone to victory lane, but he wasn't the real winner. The real winner for me was the race fans, because the magic returned. The bottom was dominant. We had pushing and shoving. It was Bristol all over again.